thank you very much for everybody who's watched these videos, subscribed, give it a thumbs up, and give me comments to help improve this channel. We really appreciate that. If you like what we're doing, I'll do more of it. If not, I'll stop doing it. So we hope you enjoy seeing this stuff. We're going to finish putting these pulleys in. One of the guys, Mac Yoakum, made a suggestion, and he's right. He said, man, when you put the bearings back in that pulley, be careful, because you have to squeeze not on the outer race, but the inner race. And I think he's exactly right. And I'll go over that and I'll show you what I'm talking about, because that's important you get that right. The previous folks who did this pulley assembly didn't do it right. It probably lasted another 50 years if they had. Not complaining, you work with what you got. I am fortunate because we've got a lathe and a milling machine. I can do some of this stuff. So let me show you what I'm talking about and what we got to do. And thank you again for watching. You guys have a Merry Christmas too. Probably most of you all already know this. One of the viewers, Mac Yoakum, sent me a note and says, hey, make sure you do this right. Absolutely, positively. So this is a roller bearing. You see them all over the place. Most of you all know all about these things, but in case some of you don't, let me just show you something. The roller bearing has an inner race, the inside part, clearly, and an outer race. And that's what spins, there's balls between them. When you put them in something like this, okay, you've got to be careful, because if you compress this bolt against the inner race, okay, if there's one bearing, it's okay. But if you've got two bearings, like we have here, what's going to happen? You're going to squeeze the inner race away from the outer race, and the loading will be cattywampus. It's not going to be right. So you've got to pay attention a little bit there on how that works, and you've got to do it right. Well, how do you do it right? Okay. Well, in this case, this is this pulley. I think it's from a Huey. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. How many of you guys have ridden on Hueys? This pulley's got balancing marks in it, but the way it works is it's got this lip inside of here. I can machine that off certainly, but when I put the pulley in, or when I put this bushing in here, except when I put this bearing in here and the bearing on the other side, what's going to happen? There's going to be a space, and that space, I measured it 15 times, is about 210 thousandths of an inch. So what you have to do when you stop coughing, what you have to do is put a spacer, and this spacer has to be thicker than what you're looking at. This little thing here, whatever they get, this little ridge they got here. So what you got to do is machine a little spacer for this. I made this spacer. It's a washer. There's probably a technical term for it. Maybe 225 thousandths of an inch. So now, take a look. When I squeeze my bearings together, when I say the right word, what happens? I'm not squeezing on the outer race, I'm squeezing on the inner race. Does that make any sense? Well, I hope it does. But there's more to it than that. So the guys who built this before, good concept. They had some aluminum they machined. Clearly there's some smart people. But look at how much this thing is, I mean, it's not right. It looks like we turned it down on a lathe. And it was smooth. So this ended up rubbing across the dust seal, which was metal, on both of these, destroying the dust seal, ruining the bearing. Costing me $20 from Jeff Bezos to give me 2 new bearings. So what Wayno did, okay, and maybe it's a dumb idea, I don't know. I made 2 more of these things. I made them out of steel though, because I have more steel than I have aluminum. But what I did is take a look at this very carefully, is I machined it up maybe 100 thousandths of an inch, so that when this squeezes, okay, we're not squeezing on the outer race, we're squeezing on the inner race. That kind of makes sense? I want to squeeze on the inner race. And that way, when you put this whole assembly together, it will spin the way it is supposed to spin. And I made 2 of them, one for the top and one for the bottom. I don't know why we had so much of these spacers, but so these little ones can pretty much get thrown out. So the way these are going to go together is as follows. Okay, we've got this BAB, big American bolt, please. Get out of the gutters. We're going to put this here, okay. Then we're going to put a bearing on it, okay. And see that when the bearing spins, I don't know if you can see that or not, hopefully you can, the inner race doesn't move. That's kind of what you want. I'm not going to Loctite it. I mean, I could. Maybe I will. Okay, then we're going to put this on here. This is going to be a press fit, so I'm not going to put it now. But in the middle of this, I'm going to put my spacer. Then I'll put another bearing like that. Then I'll put this one with this to grab the inner race, okay? And that's the story, and I'm sticking with it. It looks a little bit short, but we've got extra washers and stuff like that. So here's when you crank this thing down, what happens, you're actually doing the work. The work is actually what is actually doing the work are the ball bearings, not anything else. So the ball bearings are doing what they were designed to do. So I don't know about you, but that's kind of exciting. So the next step here, then, if you take my erector kit apart, don't drop anything, and put these bearings in here. Okay, you saw the other day what I did is I cleaned this out pretty carefully because this has got to be clean. If it's not clean, it ain't going to work. And then these bearings, they're not supposed to slide in, but they might. No, they will. They're going to slide right in pretty easily. Actually, they go in pretty easily. So I might just tap them in. The other option is to heat it up and let them drop in. Not the bearings, the cast iron. So let me see how that works out. I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet. When you put these bearings in, if I don't heat this up, you had better tap the outer race, not the inner race. Otherwise, you'll be ruining your bearings and you'll have a bad day because then you have to give Jeff Bezos 20 more bucks for 2 more bearings. Now, interesting, at least to me anyway, these are 6305 bearings, 2RS, rubber seals. I don't know, they're dust-proof sealed bearings. They're metric bearings. I guarantee in this old Huey pulley, it didn't have metric bearings. But today it does. So let me look into this. I think what I'll probably do is heat this guy up a little bit and these bad boys will drop right in. I'm not sure, it's so close. I'm kind of tempted to put a little bit of Loctite on there too, and just see what that does. And see, this is designed nicely because this I can tap. This is going to go right in. I'm not going to, I didn't have to machine this wheel at all. It'll go in nicely. But what I will do is I will get some green Loctite on here so that it stays in the rest of its life. So let me do that. Let me clean things up and get some Loctite on here. Let me get my nut out here first. Y'all probably know this too, but you know, Loctite is really good stuff. It's called anaerobic material because in the absence of air, it will cure. But in order to work successfully, you better make sure you have clean surfaces, which is what we're doing now, just cleaning the dirt off of them. And the bearings got oil on them too from when they built them, so clean that off. We could put some adhesion promoter on it, but you know, we're not talking to F1 car here, so I'm not going to waste my time with that. The main thing is get some of the dirt off of here, which apparently is more than I thought. Okay, there we go. When these bearings were failing, this thing was rubbing against the sawmill, against some other structural sawmill, and the cable and everything else. So we got to it. There we go. Woo-wee. Nice and clean. Oh, you know, I mean, geez, Wayne. But the additional thing we're going to do here, these bearings have oil in them. Not oil. These bearings have grease in them, so take your time and get the grease out of them if you expect them to stick or you want them to stick to anything. But don't spray them like nuts with carburetor cleaner because then they'll have no grease in them. All right, there we go. We got that. And I'll clean the inner race in case I get really motivated. God, look at that. Woo-wee. Oh, does that look good? So as most of you know, you might know, maybe you don't know, Wayno is not the biggest fan of Harbor Freight, but they do have some good stuff there. Cheap, made in China. And I think this US General stuff came from Harbor Freight, and it's a bearing / seal driver. And my goal here is to not whack the inner race. So if I use this, put that in here, tap, 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 life will be good. And we should go on. But before I do that, let me get some Loctite on this thing. What are we going to use? Shh, keep the noise down, please. Lots of different Loctites, 545, that's for pneumatic connections, hydraulic connections, thread locker for threads, that ain't the right one. Thread locker, wicking thread locker, no, retaining compound. You can use a retaining compound, or I can use this retaining thread locker. That's not the one, penetrating thread locker. So the one to use is door number 6, Loctite 620. When this goes in, it's not coming out. It's good stuff. Loctite makes good stuff. There you go. Gonna work. It's gonna work just like a champ. So, but you gotta be careful because you're getting your bearings. You'll be unhappy. Man, I know that does this the best. I used to work for John Brinkley Automotive Machine Shop. He was a master of this stuff. Now I'm like Mr. Sloppy. But it doesn't require a ton of it either. So a little bit here, a little bit there. It's kind of like that Brill Cream stuff. A little dabble, do you? Who knows what that is? All right, well, here's all that. Then I'll take my special tool here from the circle. My boss, John, used to nail for the grief all the time. I volunteered in his shop, but I never could put this down as neatly as he did. A small amount. Okay, so then, this may not work. I may have to get the hydraulic press. I don't think so. I think this is going to pop right in. Could not be better. And what I'm looking for is I see a little bit of the Loctite seeped up around the side. I want to make sure I'm in all the way. That is exactly what we want to do. This is beautiful. Oh, yeah. Now, this is critical. This is my spacer. I'm going to put the spacer in here. And you can't see this, but I want to just feel it to make sure I'm still, okay, above. And here's how I know I'm going to work. So when I put this down, how do we know it's high enough? Well, I measured it 15 times. So it might not be high enough. It's good. When I'm spinning on the bearing. So I don't know if you see what I'm trying to do. I put the spacer here on top of the inner race. And I want to make sure life is good. Because if this spacer is not big enough, I can put another one in. But I just do not put another one in. What if I put 2 of them in? Then I'll have too many. Actually, 2 of them is not as much as 1, is it? 2 is more. I could do 2 of them. That sounds like a lot of extra work. That sounds like a waste of time. Nah, we'll do 1. We'll do 1, we'll take a chance. Columbus did, that's how we found America, remember? Oh, I'm sorry, we don't do Columbus Day anymore. It's not politically correct. But I just want to feel it. Yeah, that feels good. All right, so let me put some more Loctite on here. Tap, 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 and we will be happy campers. All right, there you go. Loctite, so the thing is, close the lid on that thing. Smooth that guy off. Double check that I'm where I'm supposed to be. And then, tap, tap, tap. Nice, 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 nice. Hello. Make sure I'm down here all the way. So down all the way. What I don't want this to do is dry. Good. So what I'm seeing here, watching, as I push this a little bit, it pushes it out. So it means I do have, there you go, a little bit extra right there. That's perfect. So how do you test this? That's a good question. You go to your bearing test shop. No. So the way to test this is you put your big spacer here, a little spacer here. Put this guy here. Couple of these washers here. There's big plates that go on this thing in real life, so that's why I'm not overachieving here. There we go. And now you simply get your 1.5 inch wrench and tighten it down and see what it does. So stand by while I do that. Easy as pie. Just grab your 1.5 inch socket and tighten it down. So what I want to do, when this thing's tight, it should spin freely. If it doesn't, we have a problem, Houston. There we go. Snuggles there. See that? That's exactly what we're looking for. The bearings are doing their job. No binding, no noise. Sweet! That is so nice. I hope you like it as much as I do, because that's the way to do it. It's a good repair. It will be good forever and ever and ever. The bearing spins nicely. Oh, is that nice? Ooh, is that sweet? I do like that. I know, I'm easily amused. Sorry guys, that's the way it goes. So, that's it for today's video. Mac, thanks for pointing this out. I appreciate it. I knew that, of course, but it wasn't clear to me everybody else understood bearings, and when you're putting a couple bearings, any bearings together, you know, there's a reason they have an inner and outer race. And sadly, when they put this together the first time, they probably didn't have the equipment we do to do it right. So, we have the opportunity and equipment to do it right. Jeff Bezos had bearings. It's all good. So thanks so much for watching, guys. You all have a great day. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait a minute. I woke up this morning at 5. I'm trying to be woke. I woke up. I'm not supposed to say Merry Christmas. We will anyway. Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks again.